So they're going to also then lose the game a second time here if they can't pick up this win against paiN Gaming.
As you said, paiN versus Rainbow 7 on the line, right? VKE, if they can do the reverse sweep in this champ select, powered by Omen. HyperX. Okay. Now we've got Rumble. That's the first takeaway. Wizer had a really good game one on it. Syndra, again, these response bans against Katy have been on point too. And Dagda, I'm kind of expecting this Orianna to come next like we saw last game. Worked wonders. Katy was okay on the Smolder, but getting him off those serious comfort meta picks right now seem to be what paiN's homework leads us to.
Yeah, I'm curious if we just get the Orianna ban here again from paiN Gaming. We're basically going to just kick back and have a very similar story, but I think the Skarner, we saw moments where it looked good, but I don't think you're as worried as paiN Gaming about giving that over.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see Gury try and take that into his own wheelhouse and then just fall back into what's a bit more of the meta style rather than going for like the MF and the brand like the last game.
Okay, well, Aurora taken away at the very least. As you said, the brand last game wasn't able to do too much outside of some of those fights as well, facilitated by the misfortune, by some of the setup from VKE. Now we just have to round out. Zeke's taken away, okay. AShe is available, Dagda. You mentioned the Skarner didn't do much, you know, or at least for PNG, it wasn't the defining factor, but that's also up as a first pick option here. I'm trying to think what else, you know, Rel, if it's advanced that far, but of course you can't go past the AShe. So much setup, so much playmaking here for Shogun in game 2.
Yeah, and it just works out very well. It kind of slots into a lot of different styles and it can be a damage dealer, but mostly looking for those picks. So I think trying to log in towards things that can play towards that style, even like a potential Ari in the mid lane, a Lee Sin for Gury, these kind of more pick-oriented champions where you can very quickly finish someone off is going to work out well for you. But I wonder if paiN Gaming going to spawn Vi, I think could also be a good option for Gury, so maybe Cariok wants to take that away, but AShe going to go for the Sejuani in response instead. No
Yone to pair up with it, but do we get an early thing like the Renekton? Again, also Brom available. There's a lot of options for partnership deals here with the Sej. Jax, something that was taken away last game, and we know that Wizer's already pulled it out of the World Championship.
And it's a big pick for Nanaue as well. This was kind of his comfort pick, so just trying to take that away from him is going to work out really well, but are they going to lock it in blind? There's definitely answers you can go towards. Like, Nanaue's already brought out the Camille. Bit of a skill matchup there that you can try and play around, but may just be... Oh, okay.
Oh, that hurts.
So going to just... It's a counter pick. So, sorry, Nanaue counter picking himself. The Jax does end up outscaling in this matchup and have a great time eventually where you can just ignore the Ksante and rip through turrets. So I think this is where you're going to be looking for paiN Gaming to find that success. But G2 also talked about this in his interview with PNG Esports that they didn't really want to play side lanes. They are not a team that plays 1-3-1, or they want to play for team fights. So it's curious to see them trying to opt into this style again after they kind of looked at that against PSG and said, this isn't our thing.
Yeah. So maybe an adaptation. I mean, Akali says adaptation, right? dyNquedo pulling this out in match point already. Dagda, I'm seeing some dive build up here for paiN Gaming.
Yeah, and again, a lot of 1-3-1 as well, a lot of early skirmish power as well. Like if you can get an early kill for a Jax or an Akali, that is massive. And you've also got double melee now to support that Sejuani. So this is definitely a composition that can do very well towards those topside Void Grubs, 3v3s. We'll have to see if that is going to be the game plan here. But it is something that is definitely going to lose out for dyNquedo against the Tristana. So push more than likely on bot with the AShe, push more than likely for the Tristana in mid. Does Gury want to go for something that's a bit more counter jungle heavy and just really put the pressure onto Cariok?
Again, with Lily already taken out of the way, maybe some of those AP threats that are definitely needed in this comp start getting thinner and thinner. The brand as well follows suit. And Dagda, I'm thinking if they need AP damage, the direction starts getting more and more questionable. Again, where could we go? We know things like the Jarvan have been good, but there's no AP in that.
Yeah, the Zyra could also be an option if you're still looking at those AP options, but I do think, again, it's kind of fallen away. But when you're looking at Sej, Jax, Akali, probably something like a Leona, a Rel, or something like the last one, if you just kind of have that big ultimate from the Zyra, you can get a lot of value out of it and buy a lot of space for your backline. So in this specific instance, it may not be the worst case, but we'll have to see what the answer is. I wouldn't fully be surprised if Viking even go towards something like a Brom, and maybe Gury just goes towards Maokai if you do want some of that AP damage, but still have that tankier counter engage, which could also work.
You've raised very good options here. Let's see. They have to show all their cards. The Jhin on the other side for the setup. Shyvana would be filling that Spirit Shogun into AP build, and Gury's going to try. With the Poppy as well, stopping a lot of that engage against this comp. Not a bad option.
It does leave only AShe Arrow as your engage tool though, which is also a little bit ropey.
Great point raised.
They didn't have a great game in the Poppy in the last one. Like, he kind of didn't know where he's supposed to be positioned. Spent a lot of time running around. It does do very well with how much jump in there is on paiN Gaming, but it does leave you a little bit vulnerable. So if you end up in a 1-3-1 scenario, how easy is it for you to find picks? Whereas Kuri now going to bring out the Bard, knowing he's under very little threat in the laning phase. They can play for push, actually have a winning lane state for themselves, and then open up for the Bard to roam, trying to alleviate some of that pressure that Katy's going to be putting down in the mid lane.
And good for dive comps, Dagda, as well. Yes. Good for setup too. paiN Gaming have changed around their comp, and this draft adaptation is really exciting. I mean, this draft for game number 2 fills me with a lot of joy, because seeing another player on the Shyvana, you know, after Levi absolutely clawed his hands through it, we have to see what Gury can do, what damage he can do. I know you're concerned about some of the engage tools. I know we can talk about that going into game number 2. What else fills you with joy in this game?
So I think my main concern for Viking, not so much joy for them, is
okay.
They were so consistently laced to objectives.
True.
And this is a composition that requires you to be in an objective and very quick and very decisively find a pick with that AShe. Like, start things off on...
2 games in a row now is the demand. Otherwise, the VCS second seed is out, and people like Katy, Shogun, I mentioned at the start of the broadcast, it would be an upset for the region seeing such historic players, such high-level players of the region out before even winning a game or even before winning a series, depending on how we go here.
Yeah, and especially for Katy, who has been considered for the longest time the best mid laner in the VCS.
Oh, yeah.
It was a bit heartbreaking to see him not really have that big performance in the last game. He got the gold. We were talking about how well he was able to collect those side lanes, but you could see the damage per minute was just not reflected there. Yes, he had a higher kill participation, but the whole point was getting this Smolder into a good spot and then being able to carry, but dyNquedo kind of put his own spin on the game.
Careful, doesn't get the cosmic binding against his face. Katy gets out and a nice timed rocket jump. The PNG on the defense here, and standard lanes of what we're getting here, Dagda. PNG knew that first, but there is a ward to spot the jungle path here to see where Cariok ends up.
Yeah, I'm fully surprised, because I think you're going to only struggle more if you end up with your Jax or your Akali further behind here, and they don't do as well as a lot of the Jax doesn't do as well as the Ksante in those swapped lanes. So I think you're fine to just let this one go through and just accept that mid is going to lose out on push. Same when you look at top, at least in the early levels. Sorry, actually, on the level 4 and 5. But for paiN Gaming, I think it's about trying to disrupt that, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more pressure in towards the mid lane. That's why I think we had that opening on mid, hoping you could burn a summoner spell from Katy to just alleviate some of that pressure for dyNquedo.
I mean, again, it was a rocket jump start, as you all saw. Nice cosmic binding as we pan the camera down. Kuri on this Bard also fills me with a lot of excitement. I mean, Jhin Bard as a lane, a lot of range. Dagda, level 6, can be said for that for sure. As we already talked about the setup and how paiN can use their composition. They hit level 2 first. They force Shogun and paiN off the way for a little bit and play this slow push.
Yeah, that's kind of the value that you get from this range support. Always being able to get that push against those melee supports, making it easy for yourself. And that's kind of where a lot of the value you're getting from this Bard is, again, trying to, one, get push on bot, give yourself one winning lane, but also alleviating that pressure on mid. So I don't think we'll see it just yet, but certainly as we start to hit level 4, level 5, when dyNquedo has level 6, that's where I think we're going to get that pressure coming through from both Kuri and Cariok.
You know, there was another thing we saw last game that I want to bring to our attention as well. We've kind of gone through the lanes, the World Tour, and obviously with our World Tour on the left-hand side, Wizer had not only a good lane set up, thankfully by Cariok with the dive attempt early, but the fact that Wizer as well in a winning matchup, you talked about it again, and when Nanaue has been talked about as this weak topside laner who often Gury doesn't give attention to, often can be exposed as well, feels like a good setup as we just get a cleanse out for the bottom side for the meantime. Shogun with a good sidestep from the Deadly Flourish, so nothing else goes on. But for top lane to be set up again here for Wizer, maybe a wise choice, Dagda.
Yeah, to be fair, it was what GAM did to Vikings. They hired focused Nanaue in the early stages, got that early lead for Kiaya, and then just said, all right, let's just run the mill through topside. And now Cariok taking a page out of that book.
And doing it again. Nanaue just lost his flip, so he might have to burn a flash away. Permafrost easy with the Jackson to buffer this one. Patience is the key, and Cariok could just get some damage down. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Kuri flashes away. Ignite on his head as double summoners for both these bot laners taken away. VKE with a big comeback.
So nice job from the rookie on Viking Esports to avoid that gank on the top side. Lane is in a bit of a woeful spot though, as he will have to TP back in. Would have liked to crash that, so it's still a bit of an advantage for Wizer in that positioning. But again, Shogun and BA, we criticized BA for his positioning in team fights later on this Poppy, but this was also the pick that they got a ton of that early aggression in the early laning phase. We're able to pick up kills for themselves as well, so we're starting to see that Viking pressure with this Poppy come through once more.
It's a great point. I mean, the lane shows and the pudding is already with that push up. Titan is able to hold on and get some of the CS, but it gives a nice reset timer here for Shogun to pick up a recurve bow in this lane. I
think this would be such a unbelievable story for paiN Gaming and also the CBLOL if they're able to take out Vikings though, because so often at international events, the CBLOL has struggled specifically against GAM Esports. They've been the ones to knock out Loud when you look at Worlds Past, a ton of these international events. So
hang on.
Wizer trying to put the hurt now on Nanaue.
Strike, he's got a flash available. He doesn't burn it. Man, if I was Nanaue, I would have popped that a while ago, so well done to hold on, but he's got no teleport, Dagda, so he has to wait to heal up here thanks to his cookies and stay in this lane.
Yeah, but it might be Wizer taking the biscuit as he starts to come through here, because look where Cariok is. Could immediately move up towards this top side and look for a dive. BA trying to cover for that potential, at least it looks like as he hovers mid. Will now move in with Kuri, but I think there's just too many members potentially here. Well, 35 seconds until those grubs. There's a lot of map movement, and I think Nanaue wants to be no part of any of it.
And not at all. As I said before, without the teleport and with a low health bar, maybe the level ups are all he can rely on for now. Chitan is going to get this wave pushed in firmly, so there can't be some kind of response of a freeze. But you already mentioned the timer, Dagda, 20 seconds till the grubs. Kuri's up here as well. And you can see Wizer's just saying, I'm going to go bot. I'm going to match this wave himself and not miss out on too much.
Yeah, trying to come through though, and you had the Tristana leaving in mid as well for Katy, so making it a little bit dicey for them to go for the dive. Still a lot of damage. And anyway, you went forward?
He did. He tried to find the flip back with BA nearby. It caught me off guard a bit too, but Kuri also getting some damage down. So the next wave pushed in, grub started as Gury gets a smite down. It is the CBLOL to get the first grub.
Kariok smited him, so it's smite for smite, and it's Kariok who just barely gets it. That grub going to reset, deny Gury that opportunity. Shogun trying to move up, has that Ashe ult. If that hits someone, that could be it.
It's a Cosmic Binding, a Deadly Flourish, stopped by the Steadfast Presence, but a flash away from Gury is dyNquedo now with level 6, but doesn't pull the trigger. And you're right, thank you for correcting me, Dagda. I'm like, oh, the smite came down from Gury. He got the grub, right? But you're right, it was a steal. It was a good one. 2 grubs, make it 3. dyNquedo with no full advancement from VKE's side. 3 grubs for that movement here, and the price pays off.
But you even move Shogun up. Like, we're considering a fight, but Shogun doesn't fire off at that ultimate. And again, main engage tool is this Ashe arrow. If Shogun's not there, trying to find these fights for Vikings is so much more difficult. And that's where the main crux of the problem was. Vikings don't get the steal on a grub, they don't get the fight, but they pulled everyone topside, and now they're losing Dragon as well. Early map plays in favor of paiN Gaming once more.
It feels like we're repeating the same record, right? Again, we talked about this in the last game. It was a big fight that put VKE in contention, but the map play, we were definitely really happy with what we're seeing from PNG. However, as we come back, VKE have reset. They've got a full Shyvana Rage bar, and Dragon is just going to have to be held for now. Cariok doesn't want to commit to this. He's got a level disadvantage as well.
dyNquedo just trying to see if you can fish for that. Sure, it can flip and maybe put some hurt onto Katy, but not going to be the case. If you are the ones as paiN Gaming getting both topside objectives and bot, this is massive though, because again, these are not going to be supposed to be matchups that you're hard winning, but it's smart early play from Cariok to get Wizer the frozen wave. The setup for that nice play onto Ksante. Even the smart movements from dyNquedo as well towards early void grubs are helping out, so you have to find some way to break this as Vikings with the wave pushing out. Cariok just going to sit on bot side to ensure they get this wave push, and we'll push in mid as well. I think it's Dragon time for paiN Gaming.
dyNquedo forced away ulti used by Katy. Now, he still has the perfect execution available. Katy's paying him a lot of respect here since he has that Hextech alteration. I mean, there's a lot of burst damage in this Akali right now, and Katy knows that he just waits for Gury to give him safe haven.
Yeah, you can see Vikings trying very hard to force paiN Gaming out of river. Gury now just showing up just to get the push. There's not very much they can do. Katy kind of needs to look for a reset, I think, before he takes this fight. But Vikings, they're going to start it up.
I mean, so important for the Shyvana here. Don't forget the Fury of the Dragonborn, 5 armor and MR, every dragon slain. So Gury definitely needs this, and VKE, they've committed to this. Slow movement here from PNG. Means that as the smite is a little bit mismatched, at least it goes down. Gury's going to be slowed down though, but remember he has the Dragon's descent to use and now to escape. There it is. There's a Flame Breath holding on as he gets frozen in place, and fire is beaten by ice. Who would knew that? First blood over to Jhin, and PNG commit down to get a trade.
That deadly flourish not hitting onto BA may have just saved his life as well. Nice pick off the back of it for paiN Gaming. That's what I was kind of talking about, was the fact that the lack of ultimate for Katy means you don't have that disengage tool. True. Because BA hasn't hit level 6, so a lot of that reliance is there. The ult from Shogun even used here to stop the slows so paiN Gaming can engage, but Cariok still has the ultimate, ends up clipping it on towards Gury, and that's just enough for them to get to kill. At least Vikings get the dragon. I'm kind of surprised they didn't give that kill over towards the Akali in the mid lane, but still, it's something for paiN Gaming.
It really is. I mean, it's gold over to a core member as well in Jhin. In the last game, we said started ramping up on his Kalista. But Dragon over, starts to stacking. I'm now more curious, Dagda, about 30 seconds till the grubs. As you can see, Gury is up in the top side getting ready.
But it's significantly longer until those ultimates are back up for paiN Gaming. They just used them, boss. Whereas you look at AShe Arrow is back up and available. Katy now has that buster shot. So this could be a better situation for the Vikings. As long as Nanaue is able to get the reset, he's very low on mana. And you've just had the TP bot side from Wizer. So I don't know how much paiN Gaming want to put pressure into this until Nanaue TP's bot, but you are buying time for Wizer on that bot lane with each stop, and that's twice now.
Yeah.
That's been interrupted.
At least he has a teleport, but you're right, it still slows things moving into this pit as dyNquedo versus Katy once again. Shuriken flip. No perfect execution, he won't take it, and good because VKE's jungler was nearby. Once again with Dragon's Descent up and available. Wizer on the bottom side is pushing in while that teleport is committed bot Dagda. That's a big TP to use. Right as grub spawners flash away as well. I think paiN just got themselves 6 grubs.
That was the thing. paiN really wanted to get that pressure from Nanaue down to the bottom side. And as soon as he does, they go aggressive. Okay, whoa. Wizer getting very close to Katy, but still, he just moves up to concern himself with having numbers advantage on top side. They get the 6 void grubs. And now, think about Wizer on the side lane. Think about dyNquedo when he gets his opportunity to hit on
draft,
towers.
right?
Yeah, this is massive for paiN Gaming.
No, Wizer, he's getting close towards his Trinity Force, and once that color's fully stacked up as well, he should have the gold to go back and pick it up. He's top leading in gold with Jhin. Once again, Wizer having another really stable game, really successful game. And this time, you got to argue, he didn't have as much jungle attention as he did. He had one gank, of course, but he's really good at running away with it and advancing that lead. And Dagda, you will say, yeah, but the matchup too. So that also comes into account.
Yeah, and I think this is the hard part for Nanaue. Like, he's a rookie for Viking Esports, only coming in this year, and he's trying his best here for the first time on the international stage. But unfortunately, the champ pool just isn't there. It's something that we kind of saw exploited a little bit in the VCS as well. And now coming in, the Jax, that's his Jax, gets taken away. He thinks he can manage as the Ksante, but Wizer has been running this matchup thanks to the early gank from Cariok, and now this is disaster. Like nearly just over 700 gold lead for the Jax. The opportunity now to start ripping through these turrets. This is terrifying positioning.
And remember, you guys might look at the overall gold and be like, why is Dagda calling it a disaster? But he told you in draft, and you obviously weren't listening. I'm just speaking to a select few, Dagda. Because of how these side lanes play out, of how snowball-y can be once they get their first items as well. Storm Surge picked up, by the way, by dyNquedo. As a route down is good, and a magical journey out says no. paiN Gaming are gearing up because Dragon's up in a minute 10. Herald spawns in conjunction with it as well. With those first items coming across the board here, we'll see who's stronger.
So I do like the adaptation from Nanaue. Basically, Vikings have identified we cannot put Wizer versus Nanaue.
Yep.
So instead, he's actually going to be setting up against dyNquedo. Even look at the items that he's building. He's going in towards that magic resist. Does help out a little bit against Jax, but this is definitely to say, hey, I need to go against the Akali. They're going to just put Katy into these side lanes, it looks like, to try and deal with Wizer and just use that range advantage in the buster shot and the leap away to stop Wizer from really being able to use this lead he's effectively gained.
I mean, for Wizer, for the time being, he's just waiting up against Shogun. You can see that Biez moving in just in case, but I'm looking at summoners for this next potential fight. Shogun has no flash, but a barrier in tow. So while the arrow is up, and it's really good go button for VKE, as we also talked about in draft, if Shogun gets launched on by any of these backline members, or backline easy members, I should say, like the Jax, like the Akali, there's going to be trouble here for the AD carry of Viking Esports. So let's just see the setup. They got the first one, 5 seconds till Dragon spawns. Remember again, Herald spawns in conjunction with it. So we have to see if it is just a handshake trade.
This is a decent spot for Vikings though. Katy on mid, getting mid push, the opportunity to take over river positioning, even Shogun having full push, and you're only getting these TPs now into the bottom side. They could actually look for a pick here. Cariok might be the one.
Yeah, Cariok instead of the Jax here, but Gury's not going to find him. Again, Dragon's Descent available, and all we'll take is a Flame Breath. Ulti burned onto Katy early. No magical journey, but it's buffered away. Is stunned in play. The Tempered Fate. VKE has stopped, halted, but dyNquedo, now that he's here, there's not much other follow-up. Chitan's going to use his ulti as well. They just want the health bars. They just want the Dragon, but a lot has been burned.
They got that engage out from Shogun, though. That ult is gone, and now they just get to poke. The only one who can respond is Gury. But that's Dragon Form gone.
It is.
So paiN Gaming, they can look for a Q flash from Cariok to set this
flank.
up.
How's it going to be followed? They find dyNquedo in the middle of the fight. There's Akali, but Wizer jumps in and halts him in play. Gury's up next, but dyNquedo flashes and once again performs. paiN Gaming inflicting it on them as Nanaue has found something in the backline. That's great, but it's only the Bard as Chitan zones him away. This squishy Ksante, who can't change back, is going to be chased on down. PNG got another one in their sides. Nanaue, take a picture. It'll last longer. At least that's what PNG say. As Wizer picks up his third kill on the Jax. 2 on dyNquedo, a turret, a dragon, and CBLOL must be ecstatic with how good this game looks now.
It's a solo lane buffet for paiN Gaming. As you can see here, dyNquedo goes in. Good reactions from VA, but he's already in his shroud. And Wizer getting that stun before the Buster Shot comes in from Katy, means that dyNquedo gets to finish them off with that Storm Surge, and Cariok being able to continuously keep that CC train going. And then Chitan, they just chase down the Ksante. You can see there, SOFM and the Viking staff.
Not happy.
Not happy in the slightest.
I mean, again, when you have such an expert behind you as well, you have these high expectations. And we came into this Worlds and we talked to some regional experts as the MasterCard lane economy snapshot doesn't look good either. 1,500 for Wizer, who once again is popping off. Dagda, I was going to say, like, the expectations were so high, and we had these low expectations at paiN Gaming. It's completely opposite in this series.
Massively so. But it's, I think for, when you look historically, and you've seen so regularly that it's GAM who've kind of denied CBLOL moving on, have knocked them out of international competition, it's kind of hard to look at this and go, oh, well, the VCS seed that was, in theory, the stronger of the two in domestic competition should be able to compete with paiN Gaming, right? But paiN look like a different beast. They've been so good. And now, how the hell do you try and respond to this? paiN, they're just not letting up.
They're really not. dyNquedo moved out of the side lane, but he comes back yet again here as he's going to be charged on, but PNG are making the side lane play. dyNquedo in the 1v2 under the turret. Doesn't find the trade. Pierre helps with the dive, and turret goes down as well, but PNG have 6 grubs, and as under turret, Nanaue gets a stun down. The arrow is cleansed. Chitan just walks it out while Shogun helps defend this tier 2.
They're just going to end up backing away. Katy might be able to put some pressure onto the bottom side, though. Not quite a 6 grub buff, but it's still a Tristana that's going to do some damage there. So answering for a lot of the play and getting a kill at least gets something back for Vikings. But you can look at the goal at the top of your screen. 3,000 now for paiN.
Tristana.
Actually, okay. So she might just be able to get this if
he's hard committing.
Oh, he went for the minion autos instead.
Okay.
Oh, wait, I would let that fall. I would have let that tier 2 Terra fall to get rid of the local
Let's pause though. There is a barrier available, but Chitan is caught up by BA moving towards mid. Gury's there as well. Dragon's Descent up. So Chitan, good move to stop right there before he has to burn a summoner.
Sorry, as I said that, I realized he'd autoed it recently, so would have got the local gold, so it makes sense. But still, I think Katy could have just had a big influx from himself. Even that extra goal, you can look at his items, would have finished off that Flicker Blade for him as well. So he would have been in a really nice position for an upcoming fight, but ends up going for a couple of those creeps and it cost him.
Katy last game, set up for success as well, remember, on the Smolder. Caught out last game in a big team fight. This game obviously is very different, but I just want to highlight the fact that Katy under immense pressure again, as the veteran, as the person we said coming in, was a huge step up here for VKE. We've talked so much about it, but again, I just think when you have players like this from the VCS that historically a lot of people looked at internationally, he's got so much extra pressure to carry in this game to keep them alive.
But where are the tools to set him up? Again, you're looking at an arrow. That's kind of it. When he wants to go in, he has to contend with the Akali. We saw what the Jax could do to set him up. Then you have, not only that, you've got a potential Bard ult, the Sejuani. There's so many tools available to catch him out. and you just don't have that same level of protection. So I think that's where really Vikings are going to struggle, and that's only when we get to team fights, let alone the pressure on the map right now.
But even when we get to team fights, your point goes further because there's a Mikhail's Bell available for Kuri. So if you find Shyvana or you find any of those carries, you've got to get through so many layers of cooldowns extra to just find that limited engage options. Tempered Fate, the ulti misses, and Shogun with some nice fancy footwork. He gets out alive while the Steadfast Presence, rather, Keeper's Verdict, knocks away.
But they didn't use Rift Herald. They just got mid lane turret. You still have that on Cariok as well now. So paiN Gaming, yes, the ults go wide. Most of them should be back up before our next dragon, but I don't even think they care about dragons right now. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a put pressure on towards a tier 2, try and get that little bit of extra gold, try and keep Vikings back on their own side of the map.
2.8k gold lead now, by the way, between top laners. I'm just slowly tracking and watching this game play out through their eyes. Almost 20 minutes into the game. Baron's up soon, but more importantly, that dragon, unfortunately, it's not really the best soul. However, soul nonetheless as PNG with all their control and their vision that looks like a lit up Christmas tree around bot. Dagda, I'm going to put a circle. Boom. Look at that. There's about 10 wards. Here. Down in bot alone. What have you got for me?
There you go. We got some in here, we got some over here. It's going pretty great for paiN Gaming. But here's the thing. Now we are in a position where, oh my god, actually Gury
flashes away. Just one quick pick. Cariok doesn't have to commit the ulti.
But that's the thing. The Vikings needed to get on towards the objective first. They're going in completely blind. paiN Gaming have already reset. And there's just so much pressure from dyNquedo on the top side of the map. They don't feel proper going for it, but the arrow misses.
And now he's bought time. Into the Shroud he goes, BS stops him. He's grounded for the time being. The damage is good from Katy. He goes for another leap. The enhanced blast cone's there. Ulti follows him though. Katy gets a pick. It's big, but how big here, depending on how the push goes with bot lane Herald.
Yeah, you don't really have people in position here though, so Wizer just going to try and force Nanaue back. Nanaue grabbing the Rift Herald as well, but yeah, this is actually big for Vikings because no push came in mid.
Can't get it
no
shoved
counter
in.
punch on the bottom side, and Katy's going to get top tower. So nice pick and nice play from Vikings.
The play is slowed down. There's a couple of mistakes, or rather, a couple of picks here. As we said, limited engage, things like the poppy have to be utilized well, and at least BA this game is trying to be more proactive than what we saw on day one. And Dagda, turret goes down, as you said, 2k gold lead now from what was 4 or 5k only moments ago. Yes, the dragon follows suit. The Viking now have a lot longer side lanes than there initially was.
Yeah, and a huge amount of that is, again, the CS values coming through for them, like especially when you look at the mid lane. dyNquedo has not been able to pick up an awful lot of the CS, so he's fallen fairly far behind, and plus the extra gold from all these turrets, because Katy has been the one that's free farming, has put him into a very good spot. But you can see the win probability powered by AWS. It's been a very back and forth game. paiN still in the lead, but a significantly closer position.
So now we just have to find out how the mid game plays out, because PNG still have control of the map and they're clearing out some of this Baron vision. Nothing left on the bottom side of the map, so transferring some to the river. And you can see again, the river is still littered with red wards. And Dagda, we have 2-item Jax to play through sides, 2-item Akali as well. There's still a lot of positives here to speak of.
But here's the thing. So Nanaue is now in a position where he can just try and keep these waves off of towers.
Right. And
it should be relatively okay. You don't really have enough push in the mid lane because Shitan can't contest wave because of Shogun's ultimate, so you don't get push mid. dyNquedo doesn't beat Katy. Katy is so far ahead at this stage that as long as he's able to keep him at bay with the Buster Shot, he's fine. So they're trying to make a play on mid.
And the Tempered Fate is there. Now the Keeper's Verdict is rolling out.
He just cancels it.
Not throw, yep.
Yeah.
Tempered Fate for nothing.
And I think that's where paiN Gaming are feeling a little bit of the pressure. They don't really have control of the map state because they're just not quite in a position to be that far ahead because Katy's so big. And they need to find some sort of play some sort of pick, and that was their attempt, but it doesn't quite work out.
It's not like Dagda, you can just run and force Baron, right? I mean, look at this team with a Jhin as well. How slow is it? They're running into enemy jungle thinking they're okay. Well, Cariok says, I'm okay, as Gury still has the Dragon's Descent. Shyvana gets out of there because the TP on top is dangerous to flush away from Kuri as well, and VKE can play this back. They've got a wall. They smack him in, and Kuri is not okay as dyNquedo runs on him with a perfect execution, but no damage done. He wants out, but he will not be let to live. Shogun in the back getting hit by Shyvana, who flashes too, manages to survive. Wizer wants to clean this up, put them back in a position of pressure, but PNG are running for their lives. Over the wall, maybe not the play. Nanaue gets stunned on up, curtain called down. VKE, you were winning the fight, but you overchased, you overcommitted, and now you've overblown it all.
It looked slow, steady fight, finding these angles where paiN can be useful, but the blinking health bars and the over chase at paiN Gaming take it away from them.
Being resilient is what we can say about that fight, as Jhin played with fire, but I don't see no scorch marks. Baron might be slow, but no one's up and available. And paiN, they look good versus PSG in game one. They showed resilience there, but here against Vikings, they're taking it to a whole new level.
The only thing that's burning out is the candle that's Vikings' time left at Worlds. It feels like paiN Gaming have been so strong when it comes to these turnaround plays, and now with Baron in their back pocket, the setup for these outer turrets is next to come, and it's going to be such a big gold influx as well. Like, the Rebel Baron power play is 1400 at the moment. This could easily hit 2k as they start to put more and more pressure on. Plus, item completions for Wizer. 3 items now off the back of that. You're looking at the IE very quickly picked up for Jhin. He just pivoted into that away from the rapid fire cannon, so you're in such a great spot.
A fight of inches, 1 out, and now 4k gold lead again. The Red Bull Baron power play, it begins, an inner turret at the bot side to focus, and a slow mid push to follow through as well. Katy's receiving that for now, but you can see top, Wizer's going to be on another lane, moving to yet another inner turret that Nanaue has to cover.
Yeah, and the fact you have the frozen heart as well means that there's just less of that damage that can come through from Shogun, from Katy. He's more versatile when it comes to these fights if he can ever get on to these carries.
True.
And at the end of the day, Nanaue isn't really going to deal much damage to him right now, especially with the Sundered Sky. He's just going to heal it all back up. So pressure again on the map. And that gold is still on Katy. He needs to be the one that steps up for Viking for the VCS region, but we'll have to see if he's going to be able to do that against paiN Gaming here.
Gury's got the Dragon's Descent. I'm noting it because now with the Leandries, he's got a lot more damage available, but Cariok has just been running into his face, consistently taking next to no damage. Tempered Fate now used. Shogun kites away. Turret goes invulnerable, but another Tempered Fate that Shogun has to dilly around for the time being without using his summoners is a big plus.
But again, look at this top side here. The wave's about to crash. Wizer's already put some good chunk onto that tower as well, so I think that's where the focus is going to be here for paiN Gaming, but 10 seconds until Dragon as well. I'm surprised to see Wizer backing. I thought he would just continue that pressure on towards the tier 2, but looks like they want all hands on deck for this third Dragon.
It's not a game-ending Baron. It's not even close.
No.
It's 50 seconds left of the buff. They'll get push in, as you said. They'll move the Dragon, but
I thought it would go to like a 2k gold lead, but it's only gone down. Like, Vikings have been able to collect these waves. They're totally fine, so at the end of the day, not the end of the world for Vikings. You're kind of in an okay spot.
I mean, when something like Tempered Fate misses as well, sieging power Dagda is a very real thing to look at, especially when the comp's trying to play out a 1-3-1. Doesn't work out, they get the Dragon. Okay, soul point at the very least. They're denying stats from the Shyvana, but Baron's got 15 seconds, and paiN Gaming haven't been able to take out any of these inner turrets.
But again, paiN Gaming said it themselves, or Jhin said it on their behalf. 1-3-1 is not really their strength, and we're seeing this. They just don't really look comfortable in trying to find these plays. And like even just pushing off a bot side into tunnels. But
Flash, start, charge, arrow, into the car as he runs away. The Tempered Fate gives him space. His ulti too, but he's just trying to survive at this point. He knows he can't though. He's caught out. The Shyvana blows down. Kuri's also dead. There's nothing on the map for them to take apart from turrets, but 2 picks show that VKE aren't done yet.
And dyNquedo had just reset from topside as well, so there's no pressure on towards that low tier 2 we were talking about. Mid lane turret, going to be the next focus. A little bit of damage on dyNquedo, but not a huge amount coming through from Gury right now.
Jhin is 3 items strong, and he knows it, even on the defense here as well. The AD carry they brought in for more experience, for a more oomph factor as well, is still very, very strong. So, what do we know about this game, Dagda? There's been some to and fro, but for paiN Gaming, I think the best part has been the fact that I use the word resilience. I don't know if you got a better word for me, but there's been a lot of these fights where they've shown their resilience here. They still have a gold lead because of it. They still have the tools here, especially as we approach Baron in 2 minutes.
I do think it is misplaying the tools that paiN Gaming have, though.
Okay.
The ultimates from Kuri have not been it. Sure, he's hit a couple, but there's been no real follow-up. When he's thrown them out, there's been no pressure to force Shogun into the ultimate either, or even real follow-up when he goes for it. So paiN Gaming haven't been setting up their tools correctly, haven't really been utilizing this 1-3-1 very well either. And when you have a Bard, you should be trying to run around using the fact that you can have tunnel to quickly move between mid to top to bot, trying to find picks, trying to find these towers to outmaneuver your opponents. But it's paiN Gaming that are late to a lot of these plays that are getting caught out by Vikings. And it's where this gold lead is now starting to drip away for paiN Gaming.
It's interesting, right? Mobility pick is the best way, I think, also to describe it, that Kuri can utilize. He's syncing up with Cariok quite a lot, but unable to find too much as Gury just tries to get scraps from his jungle in the meantime. Mid turret, Jhin's just going to walk up, take it. So Inner finally blows down, and a minute left until this next Baron. PNG now have an inhibitor turret in sight. They've got another Inner and top. They're finally making their moves, and they see that VKE backed away. Just when we're criticizing their Baron tempo, they just find it themselves with a small window.
Yeah, and this is what they should have been doing all along. This is what I expected them to try and play for, was play off of mid push into size, but Katy trying to see if he can at least punish Wizer a little bit because so many members of paiN Gaming are on that top side, but he will just back away respecting it. Baron now in 35 seconds. Again, Wizer has pressure on this bottom side. You could even sync up dyNquedo to just put full pressure on towards that tier 2 on the bottom lane. Double TP over towards a potential Baron if you need to. There's a lot of plays the paiN can make, but there's also a lot of ways they can mess up. Like the pick from Shogun with Gury, that damage is going to start to ramp up. If Katy's in position, nearly level 18 on towards this Tristana as well. Like, you're in a great spot for Katy if you can find that damage.
And some of those advantages that we can find, you know, it's interesting me saying this after watching day one so intently, is that BS Poppy on a lot of this engage coming in, a lot of these go buttons as well, has been such a pain with that steadfast presence. As I'm looking, what do you want to see? Tunneler, pickaxe, is he thinking about it? I thought he might have
been able to pick up Hysterics off the back of it.
For Wizer,
Wizer just a little short there, so that would have been very nice to have a forward item right before you're about to fight up against this impending Baron, but still, 1-3-1 setup. paiN Gaming should be trying to play for a mid-wave right now after they get this vision, but a lot of members of Viking here, and waves aren't in order.
Jhin, he walks into the Poppy, into the arrow, he cleanses away, but maybe it's a bait to get BA to stay as Wizer jumps in, gets a two-man. The teleport's coming a little bit late, but PNG aren't dying. They bring open the curtains, and it could be the curtains for the VCS second seed. An explosive electric bolt from dyNquedo as into the backline he stays. He goes golden, he buys time, and Nanaue walked up thinking he could survive, but Jhin was the change they needed. Smacks him down, takes another, and PNG have got another Baron to look at.
CBLOL wants to make sure VCS no longer stand in their way at international competition. They will move over towards the Baron, the TP from Wizer to get the mid push and keep the pressure there. A soul in 25 seconds. And maybe CBLOL have just found the soul that they need to push them forward into that impending matchup against R7.
The LLA versus CBLOL beckons a step closer. It becomes another Baron for paiN Gaming is sealed. And this time we have to see how many more turrets they can break down, how much they can push this advantage after this fight.
And BA goes for the engage, but look at where Gury is. He's not ready at all. So this is just a 3v3, and everything used on towards Jhin in the back line. A great ultimate there, finally, coming through from Kuri as well to lock down Shogun. Buys time for Wizer to come in. The TP from dyNquedo onto the back line as well. And there's just nowhere really that the carries from Vikings can move to. They thought they had that moment, but there was just little follow-up for BA.
And Soul as well. As we come back to live, if you didn't think it was concrete, if you didn't think it was looking good, now with the Soul, another 2 minutes 20 of the Red Bull Baron power play. Jhin's going to walk up, minions be damned as well. He'll use the mites and get more gold over to paiN Gaming, a 7k gold lead at 32 minutes in. Now it's only the base in their way.
The potential to siege is very, very high. Kuri could even ult defending members, so then they can just focus down this turret. You still have the 6 Void Grub buff, the Baron buff to boot. These towers don't stand very long against paiN Gaming. That's exactly what Wizer wants to do as he starts to escort this minion line in the mid lane as well.
3 members sit down. Baron does the work, and even against this Ksante, Jhin's damage is unbearable. He shreds through, he hits a 4th shot, and look at this Dagda, spread thin.
But that's what I was saying, like the once you get an auto attack, that Void Grub buff does so much work, alongside obviously the amount of damage that Shitan has on that final shot as well. So it's been working out well for paiN Gaming thus far. Wizer now waiting for that minion line in mid as well. The wave's a little bit desynced for paiN.
Gets one, they look for the pick onto Cariok under turret, but is it enough damage? This Sejuani just won't die. 5 members running into this pig, and it takes that long into the tempered fate, keeps them stunned, shocked, and in awe as a curtain call again into Nanaue. We'll do a little bit, but not enough. They've taken down the jungler, they've slowed down Baron, but Wizer was pushing mid all the time.
And the inhibitor has just gone like that.
Yeah.
Wizer, doesn't get the hop out.
He's denied, but is he going to die? That's the next question. He flashes in and takes matters into his own hand. VKE and none the wiser as the ulti's burned out because Nanaue wants to bring him on in, but he'll take another counter-strike, he'll take another bop, and Beer will take another round to die. A double over to Wizer as the Nexus turrets are now in their sight. VKE will be knocked out of Worlds 24 without a single game win, but paiN Gaming are going to right the wrongs of their predecessors. It ain't loud, Dagda, it's pain. They inflict it, they bring it, they build it, and now against Rainbow 7, they'll try and harness it to make it into the Swiss stage.
It's for paiN, it's for Loud, it's for INTZ, it's for the CB LoL. Pushing out the VCS second seed and moving on, guaranteed that one team from South America will be moving on to the main event at Worlds 2024.
I said it during the 100 Thieves series, I'll say it again. This world is delivering. The underdogs are rising. Once upon a time, we'd think, nah, there's no way minor regions are better than the VCS, right? That can take games off the PCS, of PSG talent. paiN have come up and they've impressed the hell out of me in this world so far.
It's been a lot of work, a lot of growth, and a lot of effort from everyone in the CB LoL, but you're starting to see it on the main stage, looking so good against PSG talent, now finding convincing wins, a 2-0 over Vikings. Incredible stuff.
It really is. Hearts go out to VKE.